G'day guys, Chris Franklin here with another ALE 5-minute podcast where we bring you chats with some of the best sporting personalities around the country just to show you the type of talent we can get to your club for your sporting event. I'm very excited about today's guest. He's been a mate of mine for 20 years. He's an AFL premiership player, actually holds the record for the most amount of games played in the AFL, VFL history of the game. Here's Boomer Harvey. Brent Harvey, welcome to the 5-minute podcast.
Hey, what's going on, mate? How you been? 20 years, you said. I think it was a little bit more than that. 99, I reckon we met. And so what's that take us? That takes us a little bit longer, doesn't it?
Yeah,
21. Well, there you go. It's so yeah, I was right. One extra year. Don't cut our friendship short, mate. They're hard to come by, good mates. So, no, you're spot on, mate. We have known each other for a long while, and it was back in the party days of '99 when we won the premiership where we first met, I think. And now we've obviously got a great relationship and speak all the time, and see you when I go over to Tasmania as well, which is great.
I love it when you come down here, mate. It's always good to catch up. Talking about that time in '99, that was your premiership win. You joined the club in '96, but only got one game in that season?
Yeah, I did, mate. I got drafted as a 17-year-old, which you're not allowed to do anymore because it's too young. So I went down there. I was 64 kilos. Hence why I probably didn't play too much senior footy. When you're running around with blokes like Mick Martin, who's 105 kilo, Wayne Carey, Glenn Archer, and these type of guys, being 64 kilo, probably didn't cut it with the big boys back then. But I did manage one game in round 22, it was, just before the finals, and got dropped the week after, which I knew I did. I only had one handball, so I was never going to it was never going to last that long in '96. We won the flag that year in the twos before the seniors as well. So it was a great year for the football club. And it was pretty much from there. I think I might have played the first two games in '97 in the reserves. And from there, that was my last reserves game. So from there, '97, pretty much played for the rest of my career in the ones.
Nice work, mate. And rightly so, too. You're a great footballer. Still are. I don't know why you're still not playing AFL. That '96 when we won the premiership, mate, is it true what they say, the 18 or 20 that are there say this is for everyone in the club that's been a part of this and helped us get us here this year? Did you feel like that playing that half a game in round 22?
Well, you know what? It's actually a really good question. And it takes a whole football club to win a premiership, not 22 players and a coach on the day. So they do say that, but there is just that small part of you. You weren't out there and you weren't in that 22. You don't go and get a tattoo with the rest of the boys. Your name doesn't go up on the locker as a premiership player. So there is that little bit that, you're not part of it. But certainly when I won one in '99, it took everybody, not just the 22 on that day. So you do need everybody, but there is that little part that you just didn't play, and you get it. I mean, you get that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I obviously never made it to AFL level, but playing country footy in Crib Point and around the country, won a premiership in the twos once in Port Hedland, but never achieved that with my home club. So they did win some premierships, but I was always in the twos. So
yeah, and it's funny. I went on after me career and played some local footy with my brother and won a flag there, and the feeling was bloody good. And I won't say it's exactly the same as playing at AFL level and winning a premiership, but it wasn't far off it. I think winning a flag at any level, whether it's twos at Crib Point or it's seniors at North Melbourne, it's still a bloody good feeling because you know what? There's probably 14 or 15 other teams that are trying to do exactly what you do. So it's a hard task, and we know how hard the pre-seasons are, and it's a great achievement at any level, I reckon, to win a premiership.
Yeah, I've still got the medal proudly hanging right beside me right here, actually, where I'm sitting. Yeah, I've got the jumper I wore in the wardrobe behind me with all the team signatures on it. It's just something you hang on to, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and they're the memories that last forever. And I bet you the 21 other blokes that ran out with you that day, if you've seen them, you'd know who they are, what they're doing, and you don't have to see them every 3 months or something. When you see them, they're like your best mates and they're like brothers. So it's a great feeling and something that it lasts forever. You're right. You got your medal, you got your jumper, but it's the connections with the relationships that you hang on to the most.
Yeah, for sure. That's happened a few times since performing comedy, travelling around the country and bump into someone who I played in that premiership with. So they're in the audience, we're chatting a beer afterwards. I've just realised, I've been told on a few of these, take your glasses off if it reflects on the computer screen. I realised I've still got...
There you go.
There we go. Now I can't see
you.
Give
Heads up. Don't worry about that. Oh, good, mate. I need a shave. We're in this COVID period, mate. I need need to do something. I just thought I'll grow my beard for a couple of weeks. So this has been 3 weeks nearly, and I think it's time to come off. I don't like it.
Yeah, yeah. No, it doesn't suit you, I don't think either, mate.
Yeah, I don't think it does either. I
But
look a
I'm
lot older, which is not good.
not used to seeing you with a beard anyway, so
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. I'm always cleanly shaven, so.
You brought up a good topic there, mate, the COVID situation with all the hubs happening in all the other states.
Yeah.
How are the boys faring? Are you still in contact with the boys up there now that they're in? I know you're still working with the club, but are you sort of hands-on while you're in Victoria and they're up there?
Nah, so I won't be. I'm not working at the minute. When we went back to the football club and worked for 4 or 5 weeks after the first COVID period, I was working then. And then because I'm only part time, I didn't get the option to go up to the hub, which is fair enough. And I only work 3 days a week at the football club. They couldn't expect me to go away for 60 days on end and do continuous work. So I'm back at home. And if they had left a couple of players back in Melbourne, I was going to get a gig and go into Arden Street and train those guys. But they end up taking the whole list up, which is a great option, I thought, anyway, because those young kids get to experience hanging around with the senior players, and I think that's super important. So at the minute, mate, I'm just hanging around. The lawns look magnificent at the minute. I haven't got too much on until the boys get back into Melbourne, so which unfortunately doesn't look like it's anytime soon because they spoke about going away for 32 days. Now they've been told they'll be away for 60 days. So I don't think it's going to happen soon. Unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be too much football in Melbourne, if any, in season 2020.
That's an interesting one, isn't it? Because they were pretty well guaranteed they'd only be away for a short block of a time. And because of the situation in Melbourne, it's pretty well doubled. And all the WAGs and family have flown up there to be with all the different clubs. It's a pretty strange time.
It is. It's a strange time. It's very bizarre. We won't live through anything like this ever again, I don't think. And I think the biggest thing, you could probably be away from the kids or the wife for, maybe 25, 30 days and cop that one on the chin and say, yep, we've got to get the game back up and running. But 60 days probably pushes it. Hence why they got the option to fly the kids up and their wives. So they're all in a hub. They had to go up and isolate for 2 weeks. So the boys got an extra 2 weeks on their own. But now all the WAGs, as you mentioned, are all up there with the kids. And hopefully, mate, the Kangas are not travelling too well at the minute. Hopefully that brings a bit of luck for them, and we can turn the corner pretty soon because it's. But like you said, mate, it's a strange old season, isn't it? It's bizarre.
Yeah. Playing football almost every day of the week as well. It's got to be.
Yeah, well, there is. Yeah, there is. I mean, it's a Friday night. It's a double header tonight. We've got 2 games coming up, and then you think, what am I going to do on a Tuesday night? I'm going to sit on the couch and watch the footy again. Wednesday night's the same. And I think there's 20 games, or 33 games in 20 days. So it's going to be a fair bit of football. And let's just hope the Kangas can get a win and the skills improve a little bit too, because I think they've been down a little bit in this season, which is fair enough. The boys did have 8 weeks off where they only allowed to train with by themselves or one other player. So you can't expect too much. But, I'm just looking forward to seeing the Kangas sing the song soon, hopefully.
Yeah. Definitely, mate. It's weird that one. Now that we're in this situation, we've had a few losses. We came close, but still, 6 in a row losses. Do we play out the season full strength, or do we blood young players and spend the rest of this weird season being a whole preseason, if you like, for next year?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and if you drop a couple of senior players or you rest someone or you put them in for surgery, everyone says you're tanking. That's not the case because you've got 45 blokes on the list and 22 that run out there. I can guarantee you the coach might be able to manipulate some stuff if he wants to try some stuff, but the 22 blokes that go out there, whether you're playing on the ball, in the ruck, full back, full forward, you are trying your absolute hardest because you've got your own pride on the line. You've got the football club's pride on the line. So tanking doesn't come into it for me. I just think blokes will get opportunities. We've already seen one of our guys, young Taron Thomas, a Tasmanian boy, going in for surgery already. And if we're in a normal season, you probably would not write it off. But I think they've already said, let's put the queue in the rack and go for next year. So it's an interesting one. It's a really good question. But you've got nothing to lose. If you're not winning games and you can't make finals, you've got to see what the young guys have got. You've got to see if they're capable. Instead of keeping them on the list, throw them to the Wolves this season. If they're no good, well, you can delist them. If they show a little bit of potential, you keep them for next year and give them another crack. So it's an important time for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting. You say you always give 100%. Well, there's no tanking, whatever. having known you for 20 years, I could vouch that's definitely the case with you specifically. Anyway, the commitment you have to the game when you were playing. I reckon even if the coach said we've got to sort of ease off a bit and see if we can get some better draft picks, you'd still give it 200%.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you're spot on. You can't do that. You, like I said, personal pride comes into it before anything else. And a lot of people watch you, a lot of friends, a lot of family watch you, and then a lot of supporters watch you. And I think you've got an obligation to, every time you run out there, try your absolute hardest. And if you're not doing that, you've probably got to question why you're playing football. And I certainly never questioned myself. I was always one that had a massive crack, not only at games, but during training as well. I think that's equally as important, because that's where you get the continuity. That's where you get to your consistency from through your training. So that was super important to me.
Yep, for sure. Mate, got to talk about the record-breaking game. So 4:27 was the record breaker, but you went on to play 4:32, I believe. When you first walked out to train with the big boys, when you first went to North Melbourne, did you think you'd be the bloke that held the AFL games record?
Oh, certainly not. Certainly not. I know when I got drafted, my first goal was to get drafted. And then my first goal after that, I realised when I first got there, and I mentioned before, I was 64 kilos playing against these 100-kilo guys, or with these 100-kilo guys. I realised how hard it was going to be to play one game. So that was certainly my goal. And once you play one, my goal was 10. Then it was 50 after 10, and then it went to 100. And once you start becoming established, I don't think I ever set out to play X amount of games. I just set out to keep improving, and I thought if I improve every time I trained and played, my career would go for a long time, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to play for a long time, and I wanted to win another premiership. I was fortunate enough to win a premiership in my 4th season, and then when those guys all moved on, I wanted to share that experience and that feeling with blokes like Drew Petrie and Daniel Harris and Lindsay Thomas and Daniel Wells. Mm-hmm. So I think it was the strive for another premiership that kept me playing for so long.
And still had the skills right through to the end too, mate. The 4:27 game, you were the highest possession getter on the ground that day.
Yeah, I think I was. I think I might have kicked the goal and got a couple of possessions as well, but I think the boys might have looked after me there. Yeah, no, I don't think. I think Dean Laidley was a coach of mine that said if I keep my pace, I'll be able to play for as long as I want. And that's something I really held on to. And, I did keep my pace and I did play for pretty much as long as I want. So I think that was important, and it was a great message from him to me to say, keep your pace, mate, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, for sure. Mate, it was a stellar career. I believe you could still be playing today, but over the course of your career, what was it, 20 years you played? You won 5 Sid Barker medals for best and fairest at North Melbourne. That's a quarter of your playing career. You were the best at the club. You've won an EJ Whitten medal. Too many medals to count throughout the course of it. But an absolute stellar career. And Brent Harvey, thanks very much for joining us on the ALE 5-Minute Podcast.
Mate, absolutely anytime. What our friendship means to me, and happy to help out anytime, mate. And good luck over there. I know it's a little bit tough all these times. I'm not sure what's going on in Tassie, but it's tough over in Victoria. So fingers crossed everyone's safe, mate, including yourself. Go to the Roos.
Good on you, mate. Stay safe.